This is Jets at Noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
This hour brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road and at washmethod.com. VIP text will win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method. Coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio. Boston Pizza for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. This is going to be a tough show. There's lots to get to. We're going to talk about the Winnipeg Jets and the road trip, splitting the weekend, both shootout games against Pittsburgh, against the Rangers. There's lots to discuss. But I was running around on Saturday, and I got a text message from Kelly. And Jim, you were in that group. And it told me some tragic news that tragic is not a word that encompasses how horrible what happened. Jessi Pierce has been a longtime contributor on the show, Jim, and I looked this up. She's been on our show in the past more than anyone else outside of, the local, the Paul Edmonds and the Mitchell Clintons and the Kelly Moores and Murat Atesh and Ken Wiebe. Jessi Pierce was on our show more than anyone else. She was a fixture when the Winnipeg Jets were playing the Minnesota Wild. It was a given. I didn't even need to think about who I was going to get on the show. I just knew a day or 2 days out, I was just going to send Jessi a text, say, hey, can you pop on? Absolutely, 100%. And
she was so much fun. She was a good time.
She was a good time. And she, as well as her 3 children, passed away in a blaze early Saturday morning in White Bear Lake, which is, I think, northeast of St. Paul. It's in the cities area, right?
Yeah,
it's in the Twin Cities,
suburb or something.
The White Bear Lake Fire Department said its crews responded to a reported fire at a single-family home just before 5:30 a.m. on Saturday. Neighbors who called 911 reported seeing flames coming through the roof of the house and said there were likely people inside. Arriving firefighters and found a fully involved structure fire and tried to suppress it. The cause of the fire is still being investigated. There's been tons of fantastic tributes. Michael Russo did one. Another fellow podcaster, Sarah Siv, did one. There's numerous, so please reach out. And, Jim and I won't speak for Jim, but I'll say myself. I only knew Jessi through the messages that we would send to each other, the time that we were able to spend on this radio station as well, 12 times over the years since 2022. She's joined us on here, and there's been text messages back and forth on X about certain things and this and that, how she feels about this. So I don't know, Jim. I mean, there's really nothing really to say. What did
we just want to spend some time honoring her. We're going to run some clips of her joining us, but it's an absolute tragedy. I'm with you. Like Kelly, respectfully reached out to both of us. It was Sunday. I was listening to the pregame show, and as I went to commercial break, looked at my phone, and he said, I know you guys were colleagues or friends, had her on. It's hard to say we're friends because we never hung out with her. We didn't know her outside of what she does. But when you do this with the same people over and over, and you have this division rivalry, you get to know somebody. And she was just so much fun. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what resonated with all her followers was, how much she included her kids, her family, and how much fun she loved doing her job. Reading the tributes, she's just like you and I and everybody who's in this business. She wanted to cover the National Hockey League since she was 18 years old, and she went out and she made it happen. So there's a ton of tributes on her and everything like that. But, regardless of what she did for a living, I get a text about a mother and 3 kids dying in a fire. It's horrific.
Yeah.
And it's horrific before I had kids. And now that you have kids, it just changes the dynamic.
I know it does.
To unfortunately make it even more horrific. So, and then you add in that we did know her and what she meant to the Minnesota community, what she meant to the Minnesota Wild organization. And not just because of the coverage, Cam, but there are people in this business that are really good at what they do. There are people in this business that can do it and have a ton of fun at it. And there are people that, take it, they can't marry the two. They do really good work. They do it and it's a fun job, but it's rare that you find somebody that can make it so entertaining, so down to earth. Yeah. And she had those qualities. And then you kick in the passion that she had. Dan Myers used to work for the Wild, and I'll just read this and then we can run these clips. Yeah. But he knew her much more than we did. But it's a horrific, tragic event that makes you hold your loved ones close. It puts into perspective the whole debate of, we do this weekly. Some texters last week getting angry. I'm getting angry back about I'm trying to prove my point and stuff like that. It's just hockey. And she reminded me over the years of how much fun it should be. Because I don't think, she rarely got back to people that were rude. She just enjoyed it. And that's what this is about. If you're not having a good time, you should go find something else where you can make more money and have better hours and everything else. So that's what I'll remember Jessi for, is just she encompassed exactly what it is. An absolute joy and privilege to cover the National Hockey League and to enjoy every day of it. Including how much I could see from afar her enjoying her kids. And that's what, to me, life is about. If you're not having fun in your day-to-day, no matter how stressful, what a grind, how challenging it can be to be a parent and working and everything else, if you don't enjoy it, then you should go find something else. And there was nobody I saw in my 30 years covering the game, albeit from afar, that enjoyed it more than she did.
Steven Texas Shown says, Jets at noon, sincere condolences the passing of Jessi Pierce. She was a fantastic guest whenever she appeared. Devastating news. Our thoughts also have to be with her husband, Mike.
Yes, and I can't imagine what Mike's going through right now. So, but I do want to read this. Dan Myers used to work for the Wild.
Yeah.
And I can't summarize this anything more because there's stuff in here that I didn't know. And so, but Dan Myers put out on social media yesterday, about 10 years ago, I left my job at NHL.com correspondent and joined the Minnesota Wild organization. My bosses at the NHL hired Jessi Pierce to fill the role, and at the time, she was just getting her feet wet. She reached out to me and asked 1,000 questions. She wanted to be prepared, and she wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to break into the NHL as best she could. And boy, did she do that. She never lost her passion for the game, never became the tired, cynical journal stuck in the dog days. No. She attacked every single day. And I know it's such a privilege to cover this sport, but there are dog days. There are days when you get into the middle of the season and you're trying to put a show together and you're trying to find all the stats and your kids are sick or whatever, and you never got that from her. She absolutely loved every single day.
That's no doubt.
Dan goes on to say she took a path few chose to travel, and she did it her way, whether you liked it or not. You had to respect the hustle. And she did it all while being a mom to one, then two, then three beautiful children. Losing them is beyond tragic. Let's lift her husband, Mike, and her family. It's also impossible not to see all the people she influenced, especially young women and girls. She never missed an opportunity to share what she knew, to make the path for those that will come after her a little easier. There's no greater legacy than that. Then Dan Myers again added, as a friend, I was gutted by her loss. As a husband and father, and as someone who saw firsthand just how much she loved her kids, I am left without words. There's a deep ache in my heart that will take a long time to heal. Hug your families and your babies tight. And I just thought, I learned some stuff there, and it encompasses everything that I knew from afar about Jessi, and just always gracious and just enjoyed every single minute of it. And we loved having her on the show. 100%. She was a ton of fun.
Yeah, we did. And here's a little piece of that on Jets at Noon. Jessi Pierce, Wild writer with NHL.com, podcaster, and the pride of St. Paul. Jessi, how you doing?
It's good. You certainly can tell it's the off season when we're getting in-depth conversations about mascots and wildlife and all that good stuff.
Do you prefer elk or moose, Jessi?
I mean, we got the Minnesota Moose were a former little hockey club here in the Twin Cities, so I'll vote Moose all day. Plus, we got Polino called Moose. We got a lot of Moose connections in Minnesota.
What's going on with the Wild having a whiteout? Didn't go over well here in Manitoba.
I'm hearing this, and I never realized that you guys have the official stamp trademark on a whiteout. Our Minnesota Vikings do it all the time.
And so, Jessi, I don't usually weigh in on these things. Whatever fans want to do, they do. But I'm hearing there's copyright infringement going on here.
The snow, we got snow too, right?
Isn't Manitoba the only place that has white snow?
I don't know. Who knows? You're lucky they're not doing it tonight, though. It is on Saturday against Nashville. So, hopefully Winnipeg Jets fans can find at least some solace that it's not going to be shoved in their face this evening anyway, right?
I think that might have been done on purpose. You imagine, Jim, the disrespect of doing this in the face of the Winnipeg Jets?
No, they wouldn't have done that on purpose. It's an honest mistake. Apologies will be sent. In fact, tonight probably.
I heard they're going to work like a True North type of thing onto the T-shirt maybe or something like that,
How's the weather down there? Never mind, it's the same as here.
Same as here. We are getting another heavy dose of snow after enjoying a 40-degree day yesterday.
My mom's best friend, Cheryl, lives in St. Cloud, and I always laugh because I think you guys get bigger snowstorms than we do.
I think so. At least they tell us we do. Who knows?
Let's not get in a fight over bigger snowfalls.
Yeah, ours are bigger.
Yeah.
Jessi, is there hatred between these two teams? What do you think?
I think so. I mean, you can go back to the playoff series. You can go back to the proximity. And you can go back to that butt kicking that was referenced in that clip, too, which I was there for on Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, which I think they joked there was a Black Friday sale on goals for the Minnesota Wild. So definitely some kind of positivity. I even look forward to a good bad blood brewing again this season between Minnesota and Winnipeg.
And Perfetti's coming. He's coming for Hartman.
All those Wild players.
Always.
I can't believe all those Wild players fell and hurt themselves like that.
I know, right? Just terrible. Terrible.
Bad luck. Just bad luck.
I always have a special place in my heart for the Winnipeg Jets. They're a fun team. I love the rivalry that's been established between Winnipeg and Minnesota. My favorite thing is when Jets fans come down and shout the True North during the Canadian anthem. It's a great rivalry that's really continued to bud and blossom here.
Hey, Jessi, how are you? How are your kids doing, by the way?
I mean, I just had an 8-year-old, or he just turned 8 last week on the 9th. It was my wedding anniversary on the 16th. My birthday's at the end of the month. September, the fall is a great time to celebrate just life, right?
Jessi, you come to Winnipeg, you eat for free at Boston Pizza. Just tell them Cam and Jim sent you.
In.
Yeah.
And then you might have to cover it and we'll have to reimburse you because they'll be like, who? But you go do it.
It might be difficult.
Always a stipulation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It might be tough to track me down, too. I'm not easy to find.
Cam's eyes are popping today.
Yeah. I figured you'd be really impressed by that.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah, Jessi doesn't understand this, but she's going to be part of this endorsement deal whether she likes it or not.
Hey, you know what? I'm in. As long as I can get a little brow wax down here, too, once in a while.
Well, if you're lucky, you play your cards right. North Americans, we got to stick together a little bit every now and then, so...
Always.
Unless we're playing against each other, then it's like get the teeth out.
We're cheering.
We're going at each other's throats.
We're Team North America until we meet up in a quarterfinal, and then it's like lose Jessi's number.
Hate
but
those
until
guys. Now, we were having a discussion opening up the show about Minneapolis versus St. Paul and all the other little Bloomington and Robbinsdale and all this other thing. It's a very sensitive topic, I found, to say somebody's from Minneapolis and they're from another community. Why is that in the cities? My mom's best friend's from St. Cloud, and she just calls it just the cities, just to make it easy. So that it's a blanket statement. Everyone feels okay. Why is that?
Us Minnesotans are passionate about what we can be passionate about, and that is one of them. Also, it's never Minnie; it's always Minnesota here. That's another little thing that people tend to like to gripe on, because there's a river that divides Minneapolis and St. Paul. And the cities themselves are very different. Like St. Paul is kind of very quaint and quiet, and it's on the east side of the river. You go over the Mississippi, and that's Minneapolis, and it's big and boisterous and probably more fun, frankly. I'm a St. Paul girl myself, but that's just me.
Oh,
So anytime someone mislabels, I know, I'm not boring, but I enjoy my St. Paul side. But so anytime someone says that the Minnesota Wild play in Minneapolis, the St. Paulites get all up in arms and say that's not true. Minneapolis has every other professional team except the Minnesota Wild, which is in St. Paul. So I think that's probably, I don't know. Again, Minnesotans just like to get up in arms about a lot of things. It's kind of funny to me.
That's good to know about the mini. I'll even stop making my NFL picks weekly in an email that says mini over.
The hockey thing too, like every visiting, like Marcus Foligno calls it mini all the time, and people on Twitter are just like, someone's got to tell him, and I'm like, I don't know. I think that's my nickname to me, man. I don't know.
The Pride of St. Paul, Minnesota, Jessi Pierce, Wild reporter, writer, and podcaster. Jessi, thanks so much.
No problem, boys. Have a good day.
Yeah, always great having you, Jessi. Thanks.
The late, great Jessi Pierce. We'll be right back.
At noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Well, we'll start talking about but I just want to get some people's text messages on. Of course, regular contributor to the show, Jessi Pierce, passed away over the weekend in a house fire along with her 3 children. Just want to make sure we get some time to read some text messages from the people. Thoughts and prayers, condolences for Jessi and her family. Neil says, hi, Jim and Cam. My heart goes out to the Minnesota Wild Hockey Club and their loss. Karen says, amen, passion and love. Life can grind us down. It's special people who bring their essence to all those that they do in their day-to-day vocations. I listened to her the last time she came through town. Tragic and R.I.P. Andy says, beautiful tribute, gentlemen. Thank you. Karen. Junior says, Jessi will be missed. Brought back memories. And one more here I'll read. Perry says, very good tribute. Class person, class show. She will be missed. I'll squeeze Randy in here. Randy says, God bless Jessi and the family. Hug your kids a little tighter tonight. I know I will. We'll talk hockey, and I'm sure the Nyquist decision in the shootout's going to come up, which I feel Jessi would want us to discuss when we come back after 12:30.
Well, JT's almost a 50% shooter, and Gus he's in the high 40s, so or mid to right around 40, 41 or whatever. So it was just trying to change it up, get a different look.
Right, it's more about historical numbers and success in
That was just it. It was just trying to do something a little bit different.
That was Scott Arniel after the Pittsburgh game. Jets lost in a shootout in that one. This hour brought to you by washmethod.com, as well as Brick and Mortar at 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP text to win a VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method, coming at July for the Boston Pizza Studio. Boston Pizza for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. I know we got to kind of backtrack a little bit if we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins shootout game. But that was my big takeaway from the weekend. Those 2 games. It was Gus Nyquist in the shootout. And I'm really not, Jim, the kind of guy that goes over, why did this guy go in the shootout? Why did that guy go in the shootout? Because I think a lot of it has to do with the feel of the game.
Well, and
who is in, who is engaged. It's not about this or that, but
if anybody, like normally,
my God,
normally, if anybody raises an eyebrow over who they're choosing, you just immediately go to the game. So like Gabe Vilardi for me is one of them. When he's on a run this week, right?
Yeah.
So I can understand they choosing him. I've seen this before. Like maybe a Perfetti gets an opportunity, and then you think, well, Perfetti's played. He's hot. Scott Arniel, back to his Moose days, I remember him picking guys that had good games. Like it wasn't always the Jason Jaffreys and the people like that. It was a lot of the guys that had a good game sometimes. And so everybody knows they work on this once in a while. It's not every week, but they'll end a practice when they have time to practice, and they'll do this. And I remember asking Chris Thorburn about this, Moneymakers, because I covered enough practices back in those days where he would win the shootout drill. And I'd be like, you ever think you get a chance? He goes, once we get past 5 shooters, I always lean back and go, I'm ready, coach, which was Claude Noel.
Yeah.
And he would laugh, right? But to what we're going to talk about, I was stunned. It was Gus Nyquist. And I'm all on board. I want to say this. I'm all on board for sending a message. Connor and Scheifele were horrific in that overtime. I think they led to 2 2-on-0s that, were just, and I got to be honest with you too, this isn't going to deter anything from how great of a player Josh Morrissey is, but the behind the back hope pass in a 3-on-3 overtime has got to go away. And I shouldn't say hope pass because he sees somebody there, but somebody's coming down. So, but that being said, we could go over the list. There's a lot of people going Jonathan Toews because, I mean, I'm sorry. I haven't seen Jonathan Toews in a shootout since that World Junior 20 years ago.
It was a long
so don't
time
tell
ago.
me that,
A long time ago.
But if he wants to send a message, I get it. But my word, there's the Perfettis, there's the Iafalos, there's the Lowry. Well, I don't know about Lowry, but I would choose Lowry.
I would choose.
Cole Koepke with his speed. If you want to send a message, I was stunned when it was Nyquist.
Josh Morrissey.
I would send Morrissey.
Perfetti, Iafallo, Barron,
All those
an
names.
injured Niederreiter,
An injured
Dylan
Send
DeMello.
him. Yeah,
Okay, you know who? Maybe I'd give you Nyquist over Dylan Samberg. But I don't even think I would. What about Brad Lambert? He was fantastic in that game.
If you want to send a message, I send the rookie. If you want to send a message to your star veterans, I would send the rookie who's going to be the next, hopefully, star on the team. And I would say, here's your chance.
I get sending the message, but when your season is on the line, I'm going with my best guys.
You needed that point. And maybe that's what...
There is no amount of justification. You can't squirrel your way around this with analytics and that and trying to bring logic to and rationality to the decision. It was a very, very bad... It was a very bad decision from Scott Arniel. And that's the end of it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Now, Nyquist has a career 32.6%, but much like Jonathan Toews,
what's his shooting percentage this year?
I don't know what even Toews is. He's considered an effective shootout specialist with 3 goals and 4 attempts during the 2023-24 season with Nashville. He was 75%. Kyle Connor's 0 this year until yesterday in New York. Like he was 0 for 4, I think, but after the game in. So I'm with you. Also, what it could do for a guy like Lambert if he did bury one in the shootout. Like
his shooting percentage Nyquist's shooting percentage this year is 1.7%. He has one goal.
Yeah.
It's the entire roster is almost a better option.
Well, you said earlier, send out DeMello.
Send out Dylan DeMello, yeah.
And who are we to laugh at guys in the NHL, right? But seriously, I was the Toews one. I'm like, oh, he's trying to, Toews historically has
Comrie before Nyquist.
Well, what did I just say? I just said to Cam off the air, if a coach ever really, really, really wanted to disrespect the shootout and send a message, you would send your goalie.
Randy,
have him slowly come down the ice with his stick and see if he can bury one.
I just was just like, what is going on? I actually felt like, is there a level of delusion to some extent? Like, what is happening here?
Well, look, here I'm not going to speak for Scott Arniel. But he clearly was sending a message in my mind. But on top of it,
at that moment,
when you look at Nyquist's career percentage, that's what he was going. That's why he was going with Toews, right? These are guys that career-wise have been good at it. But I would send a Perfetti, a Lambert, a whatever over because I think you need that point more than you need to send a message.
I just can't. I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. You just can't. You can't.
You know what's also interesting?
It's actually you can't. There's nothing. The more I talk about it with you right now, the more confused I'm getting. The more just like I'm baffled. Absolutely baffled.
Well, and my social media was like, and it was respectful. And the respectful way was, what is he thinking? And I'm like, I don't know. But people were forgiving the Toews one, and I'll even question the Toews one.
Why? The Toews one doesn't make any sense. But it makes way more sense than Nyquist.
So here, Toews historically has been good. I just read the stats on Nyquist. Historically good on the shootout. I need that point. So if I want to send a message to Scheifele and Connor, I'm going Perfetti, Lambert. I'm going maybe even Iafallo. I don't know. But you would know this from the drill in practice, right? But and the reason I brought up the Thorburn one is because if I'm sending a message, then I send the guy who in practice, and maybe Nyquist is. If you cover practice, we should ask Kelly Moore, and you've seen them practice the shootout. Is Nyquist lethal in practice?
Even if he is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, how much minutes did Nyquist play over the course of that game against Pittsburgh? How many minutes did he play? 8 minutes and 44 seconds. So obviously he didn't have it that game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you're playing somebody over the course of 60 minutes, 8 minutes and 44 seconds, it's not because, it's not like there's been games where Nyquist has been in and around it, where he's gotten close.
Yeah,
Nyquist has had good games. It was not against Pittsburgh. He played 8 minutes and 44 seconds.
So they do, it is. I don't know. I was shocked and I still wouldn't have made that decision.
I know he had an assist in the game, but
maybe that's why,
maybe.
And I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know the message.
The message makes no sense.
You know me.
The message is we're going to trot out a guy that has had one goal over the course of the season to score a beyond valuable point to this team in their playoff race.
So we got to move.
I know we have to move on, but it's just what is going on?
You know me. People say I don't mind the whole sending message with veterans at all. It has to be done when necessary, not when you feel they've had a bad game or they've had, this. It's got to be warranted in something, even to the point where I loved when John Cooper sat Nikita Kucherov for a third period a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that at all, but it's different in the shootout when you desperately need that point. I even question the sending the message. Now, I'm not going to because I'm not coaching that team. He knows what he's doing way more than I do. But by the time the shootout is, I don't know if I send a message when I desperately need that point. That's the other part of it.
There you go. I don't know, so there's
but
nothing
that
else
being
to
said,
say.
let's get on to they got 3 out of 4 points.
Okay.
They got hammered in Boston and yada, yada, yada. We get closer to the end of the regular season and nothing solved. They got 3 of 6 points. We debated this last week. I said they need 4 minimum.
Yeah.
And you're like, if they get 3, is that enough? And I'm like, probably not because of the week that's coming up with 2 Colorado games in Vegas.
Well, here's the crazy thing.
And a lot of our fans said that. They need more than 3 or 4 points because they might have a week where they don't get any.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so the Jets playoff odds actually went up over the road trip because going into the road trip, it was 4.4%. Now it's 6.8%, according to Money Puck.
It went up because they got 3 points.
It went up. I think that they were lucky after the way they started that game in Pittsburgh to get a point in that one.
Yes.
They were just asleep at the wheel.
DeMello got sat and message received because I thought DeMello was great yesterday in New York.
I mean he got one of the jackets.
So that's why I don't mind veterans being held accountable like that.
Of course. But I mean, if Hellebuck doesn't make that save, 5 minutes into that game, it's 3-0. He gets it with the heel of his glove or the tip of his glove. And then credit to the Jets for finding a way back in there. Brad Lambert had by far his best game in the National Hockey League.
He might have played his last game for the Moose too, barring Moose playoffs and the Jets non-playoffs.
He did what Brad Lambert needs to do is exactly what he did in that game. He needs to hold on to the puck. He needs to go up the ice.
Yeah.
That's what he needs to do. He needs to create turnovers, which is what he was able to do. And he had a phenomenal game. And I give the Jets also credit. So I give the Jets credit in getting a point in that game, despite how that game started. And then I look at a team that was playing its third game in 65 hours, was able to find a way to win and get 2 points against the Rangers, against the travel, against the tight schedule, against all the hockey that they had played. It was a good result. It was a result that they needed. Given all the context leading into that game at Madison Square Garden, I think it doesn't matter how that game goes or the opponent or whatever it is. You got to find a way to win, and they did. Yeah. And they kept their slim playoff hopes, dwindling playoff hopes, alive. I mean, what did you think about the road trip as a whole? I mean, and it's almost all moot because of what happened in Boston.
Well, their percentage of being in the playoffs went up, and they lost a point. They're now 5 points back instead of 4 when they went on the road trip. It's the lack of movement, Cam. That's the problem. They unfortunately needed 4 points. If they had another point, they would have at least stayed even, but that's not even good enough. So you're running on a runway here. You have 12 games left and you're 5 points back. You have to go on a run. And the problem with going on a run is you've lost 9 of the last 10 games to the Vegas Golden Knights, who are here Tuesday, tomorrow. Then you have back-to-backs with Colorado. And if you don't think you're going to see I don't think they were bad in that game. I don't want to say it that way. But if you don't think Colorado's not going to want to absolutely get back at it and get at you and stuff, like, it's going to be tough. So here we are again. I think if they it's another 3-game week. If they get another 3 or 4 points, I think that's a win for them, but it will not move the needle for them. I think they have to get 4 to 5 points this week.
Yeah.
You have to get points out of Vegas.
Nashville's got...
And you have to get points, at least 2 out of one of the Colorado games.
Yeah, well, this homestand, they got to get 3, at least, minimum.
Of the 2 home games, they got to get 3.
Yeah.
And then you'd roll the dice and hopefully get 4, but hopefully better 5 in Colorado on Saturday.
You just lament that game against the Predators, eh?
And
like 5.
Well, the Predators game, Cam, the return from the Olympics when you went to overtime twice in California and didn't get that extra point. If you get that extra point once, it's just everybody's listening to this is going, stop going in hindsight 2020, but you missed the playoffs by 3 points. It's like the Predators game, the Rangers game even. I'll even go to this. When the Rangers beat them 6-3 last week, and you watch how they play the Rangers last night, and that goalie, by the way, rookie goalie, takes them to a shootout or
he was
whatever.
Good, yeah.
But that Rangers game, when you lose 6-3, people go, well, they were never in that. That's my point. You should not be in a game with the Rangers.
Let's take a break. Let's come back. 204-780-6868, 204-780-6868. We'll give away that VIP car wash. Miss your chance. Get your thoughts on the show today. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at Noon hotline. Open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Brought to you by Boston Pizza. Coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15. Only at BP. A lot of comments about play Comrie more. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Congratulations to Linda, Wash Method Car Wash, VIP winner, 690 St. Anne's Road, washmethod.com. Linda says, Comrie was awesome on Sunday. Great game. Thanks, Linda. Thanks for the text. You're a VIP texter.
He's been sensational since the Toronto game on January 1st.
Call the Boston Pizza Jets at Noon hotline. Open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Brought to you by Boston Pizza. Coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15. Only at BP. Jim, should they be playing Eric Comrie more?
No. I mean, they could as the schedule goes on, but no. Here's how I'll phrase this. What if you did play Eric Comrie and you lose 4-2? What are we talking about? I mean, say they play Comrie Tuesday and Thursday, and if he doesn't win those games, what are we talking about? Why aren't you playing your best players? That's exactly what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Now, if he wins both those games, nobody's talking about anything because he's playing great. He's been sensational since that game in Toronto on January 1st. But if you're not playing your best players, and I promise you this, walk into that room to a team that's fighting for their playoff lives and go, well, we just talked about how a message was sent to Scheifele and Connor, supposedly.
Yeah, they didn't play their best players in a key moment.
What if they went in and said, we're not playing you guys in the third period, and you lose a game 3-2?
We're sending a message. You're not going into overtime against the Rangers because you played so poorly against Pittsburgh the night before. You're not going to do that.
No, and you in this situation, and some people, I get it, like the playoff picture, that when they're out of it, I think you might see some different things. But until they're actually eliminated, they're going to play their best players. And their best player is Connor Hellebuyck.
Yeah.
So
you can't leave him on the bench. And I understand that Comrie's been excellent. I know he's won his last 6 starts. But you have to play your best players. You have to play the guy who you know is going to give you the best chance to win. And I know that Eric Comrie's had fantastic results, and he's been great. But but Eric Comrie, and he would be the first person to admit this, he's not Connor Hellebuyck.
We seem to do this every year. Mm-hmm. And every year, it's like Eric Comrie's not even a starting goaltender in this league. And he's been given the opportunity. And I'm not bashing him. He's been sensational since January 1st. Sensational.
It's the same logic.
But he's not the best goalie on this team.
It's the same logic last year when he wasn't getting any run support and he was losing games. It's the same logic to say, oh, bring up Thomas Milic, bring up DiVincentis from the Moose because Comrie just can't win a game. It's the same logic. You don't do that because you know Comrie gives you a better chance to win night in and night out than those two guys. It's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but all opinions welcome on that. You shouldn't be. I'll say this: you shouldn't be afraid to play Comrie. You shouldn't be afraid, but you got to play your best player. Thank you very much to Avery 4J for producing the show. Thank you very much to Jim Toth. Take you all the way till 2:00. That's it for me. Back same time tomorrow. See ya.
And this one was for Jessi.